Everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry it was a few minutes late. I haven't live streamed for a while and there was a new update I had to download. So we're going to get started. We're going to first do a little bit of boring stuff, and then at the end I'll take questions. So first of all, we're going to talk about how to make phonics fun and how to make the most of your phonics program. But we'll start with a not so fun. But before we do that, I'm going to do a quick introduction. I started tutoring in 1994, became a Christian in 1997, became a mom in 2002. An early version of my phonics lessons were on the web in 2004, but we weren't yet a nonprofit. But we were doing it not to make profit. It was a not-for-profit. I began homeschooling in 2007. And then we registered as a nonprofit under 40L in 2010. And in 2012, I started heavily using Webster Speller. Before that, I've used it a little bit, but I started using it more and more. And as I use it more and more, I got better and better results with my remedial students. So to make the most of your phonics program, you need to work smarter, not harder, by doing focused work and extend the time gradually. You shouldn't try to work when your kids are tired or if they're having a bad day. Just try to do it faster or wait. Feed them, give them a nap. It's a lot more effective when they're doing focused work. And this is for tutoring, but it also applies if you're teaching phonics to your child. Work a bit. And then when they're starting to get a little tired, then switch up to games and then a little break and then work and then games. I like to save games for the end because it extends the time that they're actually listening and learning, and also they can get kind of riled up, so you don't want to do them at the beginning. All right, so sometimes your phonics program, you need to do a little more work on it if it's not quite working for you, and there's things that you can modify, and also you might need to change. We'll look at a chart here that'll help you show when and how you might need to do that. On the left side of the chart, from 1 to 10, it shows how pure your phonics is, and the 10 is the purest. And on the bottom here, reading grade level, 1st grade to 12th grade. And as you see here, Webster gets the best of both, but it is a little bit hard to do. Green means easy to do, yellow means hard to do, and red means pretty complex. So over here, Blend Phonics, one of my favorites, but it only goes to a 1st grade level. Word Mastery, Ordinary Parent's Guide to Reading, and Phonics Pathways. Those are all good choices. Abeka is also pretty good. Alpha Phonics is good for some students, but some students start guessing from the word families. But if you modify it and use it across instead of down, then it can be good. And one thing I like about it is it has nice big font. Ones with big fonts are Phonics Pathways and Word Mastery. Blend Phonics is smaller font, but you can either take the file and make the words bigger, or you can start using it from the whiteboard. And I like a whiteboard for young students anyways to help. It helps them see the words better and be more comfortable with it. And also when on the whiteboard, when you're writing from left to right, it helps reinforce the left to right sounding out of words. My Father's World Phonics, that's another one that needs to be modified. The main problem with it is that it's tied to the history schedule, and that might not be the pace that your child is ready to go at. You need to do phonics at the child's pace. So that's one way to modify it. And the other thing is pre-reading the stories lets the kids guess. So basically all these modified are to make it a stronger, more pure phonics program that reduces guessing. Over here, some square pegs. These are all pretty good programs, but they don't really fit in my box that well. Like ETC and CLE all have a bunch of different levels, and so I'd have like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'd be clogging up my chart here. These top 3 all teach all the phonograms at once. Writing Road to Reading, it's a good program, but it's pretty hard to understand. And I've had a few boys who that's like overloading their brain, and it hasn't worked well for. Logic of English, she designed it with her own boys in mind, and so people might have more success with that and not as many problems with their heads exploding, but I don't really know. And Tetris, similar, and it's also a good program. All right, Outsource when you're busy. I like the Leapfrog DVDs for the letter sounds, or Read, Write, Type for some basic phonics. It's an online program. And I have some YouTube videos for both younger and older students, and Sweet Sound of Reading is good for younger students. She's putting all her videos online. Okay, to make the most of your phonics program, use charts and cards. You can take little cards of the words and put them in your purse with you and bring them wherever, and then pull them out and sound them out. You can also do this for a change of pace and take them outside, take them to the park, take them to the trampoline, wherever. Focus on left to right blending. And I have little cards that are free to print, and they make it fun. And it also helps focus on the sounds. All right, Don Potter has over 600 cards made for his Blend Phonics program, and you can print them out for free and use them. And this chart, not only does it make learning the sounds fun, but I've found with the students I've used that they learn it faster when they have to look it up themselves. And they're arranged in sound order, like t, d, f, the. They're across their similar sounds. That's why like leaf changed to leaves. And the order down, it also is order of sounds. And Don Potter has a really good YouTube video about it, explaining how this. It's in my pre-reading playlist. And also down here is all the syllable division rules that you can do later. It's handy to have it all in one spot. Now, two-letter vowel teams are pretty tough, and I use this chart for my students. It's on my syllables spell success page as a document that it has this with a key, like the green ones are first letter long. A, E, E. You have them go across like that, matching, and oi, oi. And this is because native English words don't end in an I, and here native English words don't end in a U, so it'll be ah, ah. Ow, ow. I had one student who was having a really hard time learning ow, and so I made it red just for him, so he could think red, blood, ow. You can have him do it first with the key, and then without the key, and then finally black and white, and it'll help you have him learn it faster. And these ones here will normally divide between the ones that don't make sounds. All right, so you need to be consistent and focus on the basics. And brain science shows that your brain is actually, of an adult good reader, it's actually sounding out every sound just really fast in parallel. So you want to focus on the basics and focus on the sounds, and the more and more you can do that, the better your brain will be able to read. And that also is from my experience. The students I've seen who've had the best phonics programs, who focused the most on sounds and did the least sight words, ended up being the best readers. And supplement with games and fun. And again, work a little and then some games and then a break and then work, games, and then a snack. It's a good cycle for teaching. All right, some common problems. Most phonics programs start out with CVC words, and if you've been doing them for months and months and months and your child hasn't seen any long sounds, it can be hard once you get to the silent E words, and they might regress a little and have hard time remembering the old ones. And you can go back and review and do them both at a time. Go back and forth between map and MAPE, either on a whiteboard or writing them both. Sit and sight, and then back from sight to sit, and help them see the difference. Also, you can either do different color on a whiteboard and have the A and the E, or if this is an I for or whatever letter this is, have these two the same. Or you can also put a long vowel symbol over the A and then highlight the E to show that it's working together to make the A long. And again, what we were talking about on modifying, you want to make sure you're going at the student's pace and review when necessary. You'll get there. You don't need to try to rush through it. You can take as long as you need to make sure they're getting the basics in place and stop guessing in its tracks. Sometimes you need to stop doing sentences and stories for a while and just work on word lists. And if they're starting to guess, you don't want to make that a habit. I've spent over 20 years trying to undo guessing habits, and they're harder to undo the more and more you do them. Like I've had students who are siblings, that their younger siblings sometimes start to surpass their older siblings because they've had less times with bad habits, so that's not as hard to undo. All right, games. If anyone has any ideas for games, you can add it, but not now, because here you'll just see it and the chat will go away. So we're gonna, you can add later, please. And then everyone will be able to see them for eternity if you have any more good game ideas. But this is a fair number. My phonics concentration game, that's always a favorite, really easy to print and use. Spelfabet has a bunch of fun games that are low cost to print. Cat Phonics, Mona McNee, she has a bunch of free games to print. Happy Phonics is a whole program that just uses games, and I haven't used it, but there's extensive samples on the site, and it looks like a good program. You can play bingo, and I have a YouTube playlist of making phonics fun that has a couple more ideas. They're kind of hard to explain. You'll have to watch the video. And bingo, what I do with bingo, here's a card you can see here that I used with a recent class that they were all younger, 4th grade and below. And what I did was I just found out some common things that they're having problems with, and I made it into a bingo card. And this worked really well because a lot of them had confusion between like these two. And so if they were looking at the wrong one, I'd say, no, you need to add a silent E for that to be right, or vice versa. I'd say, no, if that had a silent B, it'd be I, but it ends in a consonant, so it's short, so it's IP. And then also I had, the way I call them out was these two, AI with the in the word and AY at the end. I called out long A within the word, and then if they needed help, I helped them find it. All right, so tracking progress is good. You can do this with grade level tests, and if you don't tell them the words and wait a while, you can reuse them. The MWIA, that's really good for seeing how they're doing, and it also measures word per minute. And you can track word per minute with either nonsense words. I have some nonsense word fluency documents in my syllable spell success program, free to print, or Don Potter has some blend phonics fluency drills. And that can be really motivational because it seems like they're not, both for you and the student, because when they're really young, it seems like they're not making any progress and they're just sitting there saying cat. And they can go on and on and on like that, and you think they're not making any progress, but if you track how fast they're reading, you'll find out that they're actually slowly and slowly, bit by bit, getting better at sounding out. Here's an example of a fluency tracker I have that shows progress. And these are words per minute, and this is lessons. All right, you can also add in fun. What I like to do with a whiteboard is I start out with black marker, and then if they do a good job, I say, all right, you've been doing a really good job focusing. They don't have to get them right. They just have to be focusing and trying. And then they get to add, choose their color. And you don't want to start out letting them have any color. If you start out with black, and then it'll be more of a reward that they'll get to get any color they want. And also you can add in with your word cards some action prompts. And it doesn't have to be my little word cards. It can just be like words on a paper or words on a little index card. And like these are the word cards. And this is the sound, and this is the name substitute. And you can take those cards or another cards and take a little car and run it over it and have them sound out each sign as the car goes over it. Cat. Or if you have like little tiny animals, little plastic animals, or whatever you have, or you can use a bit bigger cards and use a stuffy or whatever. All right, add in movement. And again, you might want to wait till the end here. If they get too riled up, they might not be able to focus, and it can kind of extend the time worked. You can have them jump on large letter cards. You can make them one letter per page, or letter sound, like you could do AI and OO once you get to the 2-letter vowels. And jump from letter to letter while they're saying the sound. You can have them run back and forth to get word cards, or you could hide them in your house in a little game where you give them hints and they have to go find it and then sound it out. And also make words with either letter tiles or magnetic letters, anything you have on hand, Scrabble or bananagrams. It always makes it a little more fun. All right, word attack, literal and figurative. You can shoot little rubber bands at the words or form darts, a small ball or eraser top. And again, anything fun like this, you might want to save till near the end because they might get too riled up to go back to bookwork. Stuffies. Stuffies are always fun. They can jump from index card to index card. You can have your child read to the Stuffy. You can have the Stuffy school. You can have them be in charge and teach the Stuffies. And if you want to be the voice of the Stuffies, you can have them make silly mistakes and have the child correct it. Like something really, really silly, like saying "k" for G. All right, so mix it up. You can add in some oral spelling, some oral blending, like just without having the word on the card. Every once in a while, have them sound it out. And you can combine that with oral spelling. And also, once they've been doing the basics for a while, that you can try to do some 2-syllable words in Webster Speller. And that can get them really excited that they can do hard, big words. And the basic syllables are really easy to learn since they're just 2 letters. All right. I like to end on Upbeat on my lessons, and you end with choice. I like to say, all right, we're almost done. Do you want to read 10 more words or spell 2 words? And that's actually the same amount of work. I found that as much goes into their brain from spelling 2 words as reading 10 words, and it takes about the same amount of time. And you can also end with games. All right, so does anybody have any questions? Let me see where the questions are now. They changed the format of the Hangouts here. All right, here's the chat. I found it. So, questions? You can take a question about anything. At the beginning, I know some of you missed the beginning. It's talking about ways to make phonics fun, work focused, work smarter, not harder, maximizing tutoring time or working time by working first and then some games and then a break. Modify things if you need, bigger font, and I didn't really go over this one in depth, but sometimes either you've taught something for 6 years and it's driving you crazy, or like the font and easy 100 easy lessons, it distracts some teachers and some students. Some people really like it, some people really hate it. And for some reason you don't like Dewey the Caterpillar and Phonics Pathways, that would be another reason to change, even though it's normally a good program, but if it's driving you crazy, you could change. All right, and we looked at the purity of a phonics program and some good ones. You want one that is really focused on sound, and you want the highest reading grade level that you're able to teach to. And Word Mastery, Ordinary Parents Guide, and Phonics Pathways are all in a good corridor, and of course Webster, but a little harder to teach, but I have some videos to help show you how. All right. So it looks like there's no questions, so I'll go ahead and end. And remember, if people have games to add, go ahead and add them in the comments after it's ended, and then everybody will be able to see them. The questions here in the chat, they don't appear later. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.